All right, Khan, Shalom, Shalom, Israel, Shalom to the 12 tribes. You guys all are giving the course, all on the glory and praise unto the Most High God, Yahweh, in the name of His only begotten Son, Hamashiach, Yahweh Shah, this brother Yasharallah.
That's all right.
Khan, come back to yet another video through the Spirit by Yahweh, by Shem Hamashiach, Malak Yahweh Shah. All right. So, Shabbat Shalom to the 12. That's observing it Friday, sundown, Saturday, sundown through the Spirit. Another day of praying, another day of laboring for the Most High, another day of rest, another day of congregating with like-minded individuals in the truth. So all praise to the Most High. Made it to the end made it to the end of the week through the Spirit. All right. So without a further ado, today is not necessarily an attack on Christianity. All right. But it's going to be edifying nevertheless, Lord willing. And so we'll be going into the different offices in this truth. All right, because in this truth you have different offices and you have different gifts. So we're going to go through the different gifts. We're going to go through the different offices that the Most High has set up, and in these last days, so we can actually examine them and see what we can do as individuals, like see what gift we have. Says every individual in the truth has a gift. Every individual in this truth has an office. All right. So let's kick it off with the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 12. And let's go to verse. Actually, let's start with Ephesians chapter 4. Let's start with that one. Let's go to Ephesians chapter 4, and let's start at verse 7. All right, let's go to Ephesians chapter 4 and verse 7.
This is Ephesians chapter 4, verse 7, and it reads, "But unto every one of us is given grace according to the measure of the gift of Mashiach. Wherefore he saith, when he ascended up on high, he lead captivity captive, and gave gifts unto men."
And he gave what?
He gave gifts unto men.
So he gave gifts unto men. So this is talking about Yahweh Shah. Yahweh Shah is giving us gifts. All right. He gave gifts unto men. It's not talking about Christmas gifts. The Xbox or PlayStation. You know what I'm saying? These gifts are talking about spiritual gifts. And how do we know that? So let's just stop there. We're going to go back here, though. But let's just stop here because Paul even elaborates about the spiritual gifts in another chapter. Let's start with 1 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 1. So we read here that Yahweh Shai gave him gifts, right? So let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 12. Let's start verse 1. Let's see what type of gifts these are.
It's 1 Corinthians chapter 12 and verse 1, and it reads, "Now concerning spiritual gifts, brethren."
What?
Now concerning spiritual gifts.
Right. So these are not carnal gifts that the Lord is talking about in Ephesians chapter 4. He says he gave gifts unto men. These are spiritual gifts. And everybody in the truth has spiritual gifts. Right? Let's finish that up.
And it reads, continue on.
Mm-hmm.
At the top, now concerning spiritual gifts, brethren, I would not have you ignorant.
Right. Now let's skip down to verse 4. Right to the point.
It reads, verse 4, "Now there are diversities of gifts, but the same Spirit.
Right.
And there are differences of administrations, but the same Lord."
So what he's talking about is actually let's read the verse to verse 6. So let's read the verse 6.
Continue on. "And there are diversities of operations,
right?
But it is the same Yahweh which worketh all in all."
So there are diversities of operations, differences of administrations, and diversities of gifts. What is he talking about here? Diversities of gifts, talking about that every individual has a certain talent in this truth. In the world, they'll say, "Hey, oh man, hey, you're so good at dancing. Like, where you learn how to do that?" It's just your talent, God-given talent. Some people have God-given talent in certain areas. Certain people are just gifted with certain, abilities. Certain people they're able to understand math way easier than other people, right? That's just a talent or a gift that the Most High blessed them with, even outside of the truth. We can look at certain individuals, that were gifted with certain skills in athletics, just naturally, they're just naturally, fast. They're just naturally strong. Some people are, when you look at the bodybuilding, type of field. Some people are They talk about some people are gifted with genetics. You know what I'm saying? They have better genetics than other people in terms of bodybuilding and muscle building, right? So even outside of the truth, people have gifts and talents that were given to them by the Most High. It's selected by random. I mean, the Most High, I mean, he had to choose that, right? He gave certain gifts unto men, right? That's just how this world is. That's just how the life is, you know. So that's what, but nevertheless, in this truth, we learn that there are diversities of operations. There's different types of work. There's different types of offices, different types of jobs in this truth. You know what I'm saying? And there's different types of gifts. Everybody has a certain type of gift that was given to them by the Most High, whether that's a good work ethic, even faith. And we're going to go into these different types of administrations and the different types of gifts. All right, but that's what Paul is talking about. So let's keep going on that. Unless you had a quick point on that.
Quick preset.
Okay, come.
Yeah, kind of like the brother said, everybody got a spiritual gift. Everybody got gifts. You just got to find what the Most High has for you, right? This is 2 Timothy chapter 1 and verse 6. It reads, "Wherefore I put thee in remembrance that thou stir up the gift of Yahweh." So you got to stir up that gift that the Most High already have for you. So it's in you. You just got to find it. Like they always say, it's not on you, it's in you. So you got to ultimately find that gift and see what the Most High have in store for you. Because everybody, like the brother said, everybody have different gifts and different God-given talents that the Most High got placed into you. You just got to stir it up, right? Let me continue on. It says that thou stir up the gift of Yahweh, which is indeed by putting on of my hands, right? So it's that spiritual gift that the Most High had. So you just gotta work towards it and ultimately get back to it. But you got a king.
Yep, that's right. That's right. So yeah, let's go to now he's about to list what are the certain gifts. All right. So let's go to verse 7.
This is 1 Corinthians 12 and 7. It
Mhm.
reads, "But the manifestation of the Spirit is given to every man to profit withal."
Right. And we have to make sure that we understand these certain gifts that are given unto us in this truth. It says the manifestation of the Spirit is given to every man to profit withal. It's for us to profit. It's for us to profit in the ministries. It's for us to advance in the ministry. You know what I'm saying? It's nothing to boast in. It's nothing to say, hey, guess what? You know what I'm saying? I'm better than you because I have this gift. Right? That's not why the Most High gave us these gifts. That's not why Hamashiach Yahushua endowed us with certain gifts, and powers and talents. It's not to boast in them, right? It's to profit with all, right? But let's go to verse 8.
Verse 8, "For to one is given by the Spirit of the word of wisdom,
Right?
to another the word of knowledge by the same Spirit."
By the same Spirit. The Spirit of the Most High, He can give all these different types of gifts. That's what Paul is emphasizing. But he's saying you have the gift of the word of wisdom. So let's get a few precepts on that. What's the word of wisdom? Right. Let's go to the book of I think I wanted to start off Sirach. Right. Let's go to Sirach 34. And let's go to let's start verse 8, I believe. Right. Let's go to Sirach chapter 34. I think I want verse 8.
This is Sirach chapter 34, verse 8, and it reads, "The
Mm-hmm.
law shall be found perfect without wise,
Go ahead.
and wisdom is perfection to a faithful mouth."
And wisdom is what?
Is perfection to a faithful mouth.
So some men they have wisdom. And wisdom is perfection to a faithful mouth, right? Let's keep reading.
A man that have traveled knoweth many things,
Mm-hmm.
and he that have much experience will declare wisdom.
Right. And he that have much experience will declare wisdom. So you have certain men, they have more experience than others. They've been places, right? They've been over here, they've been over there. They can tell you about these certain things. Certain people lived in certain areas, so they can tell you, wisdom about it. They can tell you a few things about it. They've lived certain things. They live certain experiences. The Lord said, "He that have much experience will declare wisdom." So, not everybody's wisdom level is the same. Some men they have more wisdom than others, right? Whether it's through, I'm saying, reading these precepts and the laws of the Most High and the keeping of it, or it's simply just living life. That's why the Lord says this, right? Let's go to Sirach chapter 6, and I think I want verse 32, right? Let's go to Sirach chapter 6, verse 32. Right?
This is Sirach chapter 6 and verse 22. And it reads, "For wisdom is according to her name, and she
Oh
is
no,
not many."
Salaki, 34. Salaki, 34. Salaki.
Okay. 34. So like it. This is Sirach chapter 6, verse 34.
Right?
Stand in the multitude of the elders and
Right.
cleave unto him that is wise.
Right. So the Lord said, stand in the multitude of elders. Why is the Lord saying to stand in the multitude of elders? Because the elders will have wisdom. The elders, they've had much experience. The Lord said, he that have much experience is going to declare wisdom. You see that? So, and it's not just elders that have the spirit of wisdom, right? You could even have younger men that have that was gifted with that spirit of wisdom. But nevertheless, elders, there's elders in this truth as well. And they have the spirit of wisdom. They have that gift to declare unto you, you know what I'm saying, good counsel, mighty counsel, because they have more experience. The Lord said, cleave unto him that is wise. That's why you need certain men in the body that is endowed with the spirit of wisdom, right? Let's skip down to verse 36.
Verse 36, and it reads, "And if thou seest a man of understanding,
Mm-hmm.
give ye betimes unto him, and let thy foot wear the steps of his door."
The Lord said, if you see a man of understanding, a man that's endowed and gifted with the spirit of wisdom, get thee deep times onto him, meaning be always with him, right? Be by his side. Take out your pen, your pad, write down all the wisdom that he's spitting. You know what I'm saying? That's what the apostles did. The disciples, they saw Yahweh Shah, how mighty he was in the spirit of wisdom, and they wrote these certain things down. You see that? They were with him always, asking him questions, right? Inquiring. So they were keeping this saying of Sirach. And it says, and let thy foot wear the steps of his door, meaning be always at his doorstep, right? Always be at his feet, learn of him. That's what the Lord is saying there, right? So that's why the Lord says that, because the man that's endowed that spirit of wisdom, and that's an actual gift. You want to always be with him because he's going to tell you from right to wrong. He has that wisdom, he has that experience, through the spirit. All right. And you got a precept on that, King?
Uh, no, lie, you got a king. I was
Okay.
just thinking about this account. They was doing that with Job through the spirit.
Right.
And they was like, hey, hold on, hey, what you got to say? They was fiending for what Job got to say through the spirit.
Yeah.
And that was that a mighty another mighty count. But I do got a precept though through the spirit. This is Sirach chapter 4 in verse 24, right? It says, "For by speech wisdom shall be known, and learning by the word of the tongue." So by your speech, your wisdom is going to be known to you, right? So it says, "In no wise speak against the truth, but be abashed of the error of thy ignorance. Be not ashamed to confess." So like I'm gonna go jump down to 27. This is verse 27. It says, "Make not thyself an underling to a foolish man, neither accept the person of the mighty." So you gotta understand who you're getting wisdom from too. Yeah, not like the brother was going to. Not all people have wisdom. Just because they older than you, that don't mean that they have the right wisdom that they need to. You need to listen to. Sometimes they're foolish. So you won't be an underling, not to a wise man. You will know you basically you will know by their speech what they speak about. That's why I brought out that Sirach 4 and 24 first. You'll know that man by what he speak about. But you'll understand a foolish man compared to a man will have substance and wisdom. Kanye got a king.
Yep. Con. That's right. That's right. And that's why, a lot of the, bishops and the deacons, even let's skip Slacky. Let's just stop right there and let's just get this quick precept in First Timothy. All right. First Timothy chapter 3. And let's go to First Timothy chapter 3 and verse number 5, right? Let's go to First Timothy 3 and 5, because this is talking about the office of a bishop, which is also another office. All right, we can elaborate more on it. I just want to get this quick point on it. Let's go to First Timothy 3 and 5, though.
It's First Timothy chapter 3, verse 5. "For if a man know not how to rule his own house, how shall he take care of the church of Yahweh? Not a no voice, lest being lifted up with pride he fall into condemnation of the devil."
Yeah, you see that? So Paul said, that if a man is a bishop, he shouldn't be a novice. He shouldn't be new to the truth. All right. And he really shouldn't be that young either. He should be, you know what I'm saying, a little up there in age as well. Right. Preferably. We know that Timothy himself was a young man and he was becoming the bishop of a certain church. And that's why Paul did write these letters to him, First Timothy and Second Timothy, to kind of put him on game in terms of how to rule the church of the Most High, since he was becoming a leader in the church. But nevertheless, a lot of times you can't just put, just a young man in terms of being over the whole congregation, because again, a lot of times the elders will have more wisdom. They would have more experience because they live longer. How can you give counsel on something? How can you give counsel to somebody if you never lived that thing that they're talking about? You know what I'm saying? It's like how can I ask somebody about, okay, how, hey man, how can I, you know, how can I get my how should I invest my money? How should I why should I go to a man that has nothing to do? He doesn't even know how to add or subtract. He knows nothing about a credit card, debit accounts or anything like that, savings accounts, checking accounts. He knows nothing about that, but I'm asking him about how should I invest my money in my savings. What is he? I mean, he's not going to tell. He's not going to know, right? He's never had experience on that. Or it's like I'm asking a 5-year-old, have you ever got a credit card? He doesn't even know about that, right? So it's you know again, going back to that precept in Sirach 34 and going back to that precept in First Corinthians as we're linking it up, First Corinthians chapter 12, the spirit of wisdom is the actual gift, and it's wisdom, it's experience, it's not just brute knowledge, right? That's why Paul separated the two. So let's go back to that in First Corinthians chapter 12. All right, and let's just read that one more time. First Corinthians 12 and 8.
God,
Um, uh,
God, this is First Corinthians 12 and 8. For to one is given by the Spirit the word of wisdom, to another the word of knowledge by the same Spirit.
yeah, you see that? So you have the spirit of the word of wisdom, and to another, the word of knowledge by the same spirit. So the word of knowledge, he separates the two. Why is that? It's because knowledge and wisdom are a little bit different. See, the word of knowledge is like this. Let's go to Second Timothy chapter 2, verse 15. Right? This is the word of knowledge. Let's go to that real quick. Second Timothy 2 and 15, which is a precept, the famous one. Right?
Second Timothy chapter 2, verse 15.
Uh-huh.
Study to show thyself approved unto Yahweh, a workman that needed not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth.
Right, rightly dividing the word of truth. Studying. See, this is the word of knowledge right here. You're studying, what I'm saying, and let me get this quick precept in Daniel chapter 9, verse 2. In the first year of his reign, I, Daniel, understood by books the number of the years. So Daniel, he was a learned man. He knew how to read. He knew how to write. He wasn't, just some random dude, right? He was well studied. You read that in Daniel chapter 4. I mean, it's like Daniel chapter 1. He was one of the young learned men. So he knew how to read. He understood by the books how long the captivity should be, right? So that's the word of knowledge, for example. A lot of brothers, they may know about the history. They can go into the history. They can go into the certain dates, the different types of wars that were fought. You know what I'm saying? This man, he's very knowledgeable, right? You ask him about, okay, what does this word mean? He knows the definition of the word. He knows a lot of etymology, morphology. He may know, linguistics. So this man, that's the spirit of the word of knowledge right there. All right. That's the spirit of word of knowledge, how that's a little bit different than wisdom. All right. Wisdom comes by experience, and knowledge is by, again, studying, right? Learning, reading. That's how you acquire that knowledge. All right. So again, but these two spirits are given by the same spirit, right? These two gifts, I should say, Salaki, these two gifts are given by the same spirit of the Most High, right? Let's go to verse 9. Unless you had a point on that, King.
Now you got it.
Okay, come.
This is First Corinthians chapter 12, verse 9, and it
Mhm.
reads, to another faith by the same Spirit, to another the gifts of healing by the same Spirit.
Right. So the Lord said, to another faith by the same Spirit, and to another the gifts of healing by the same Spirit. What's the gift of faith? Let's go to Second Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 3, because this is the first thing we have to understand. Faith, some brothers may take faith for granted, right? But let's see what the scriptures say though. All right. Salaki. Second Thessalonians 3 and 2. Right.
God. In Second Thessalonians chapter 3, verse 2, and reads, and that we may deliver from unreasonable and wicked men, for all men have not faith.
Right. So the Lord said that we may be delivered from unreasonable and wicked men, for all men have not faith. Not a lot of men have faith in this world. Let's go to Luke chapter 18 and verse 7. Not a lot of men have faith. That's a rare thing to have in this day and age. A man that actually believes in the Most High God and is zealous for him and has faith, that's a rare thing in the earth, In so much that's a gift. It's a gift from the Most High to have faith, right? And some brothers have more faith than others, That could be somebody's gift to have more faith. He believes more, just innately in him. Maybe, maybe he's not the most knowledgeable. Maybe he's not the most wisest brother. Maybe he's not, the most mightiest, or he may not look the mightiest. He might be about 5'5", or no, just hey, he may not look the mightiest either. But hey, guess what? He's mighty in the faith. He's mighty in faith. This brother really believes, though. You know what I'm saying? You can't take that away from him. That's a gift that the Most High gave him. Right? Let's go to Luke 18 and verse 7.
This is Luke 18, verse 7. It reads, and shall not Yahweh avenge his own elect, every which cry day and night unto him, though he bear long with them? I tell you that he will avenge them speedily. Nevertheless, when the Son of Man cometh, shall he find faith on the earth?
Right. Shall he find faith on the earth? Because again, Yahweh Shah is like, man, when I come back, am I even going to find anybody that believes in me, that actually has faith for real? Because not all men have faith. That's a rare thing to have. And if even in this truth, right? There's, even in this truth, I mean, we're still asking the Lord every day for faith, man. You know what I'm saying? We're still asking for the Lord every day for faith. Even in the New Testament, they asked the Lord, increase our faith, right? Luke chapter 17 and verse 5. So even they were asking that. So in order to have the gift of faith, that's a very, very good gift to have, right? And everybody in the truth, obviously, if you're in the truth, you have a form of faith. But like I said, not everybody's faith levels are the same. Some brothers, maybe the Most High made them to go through more tribulation, right? A lot of more tribulation, a lot of things happen in their life. And so the Most High delivered him from that. And so therefore now he has more faith than this brother that only went through a certain amount of tribulation, right? And that's just how it is, right? But let's you had a point of that?
That precept going into the faith. God, this is Second Ezra chapter 5 and verse 1. It reads, nevertheless, as concerning the tokens, behold, the day shall come, that they which dwell upon the earth shall be taken in great number, and the way of the truth shall be hidden, and the land shall be barren of faith. So like the brother was going to, the precept in Luke 18 and 7, faith is going to be barren in this time. It's not going to be faith is not not everybody has faith. Faith is going to be a smidge, man. People won't have to move off of people believe in themselves nowadays. They don't have faith in the Most High anymore. So now they put in their faith in things that they could see. But we know faith is the substance of things we can't see. That's how we move through the spirit. And we know we can't we physically see these acts that the Bible speaks of, but we believe that it happened, and we believe that we are God's chosen people, and we believe certain things, just like the brother was going to. Just having that smidget of faith, could take you a long way,
Yep. That's right. And that's all. I mean, really, all these gifts, that we're about to go through, we should all be praying for, right? But faith should be that number one. You know what I'm saying? Faith should be that number one, because what's going to, as a brother's going into, what's going to save you in these days, right? In these last days is really the spirit of faith. You know what I'm saying? It's really the spirit of faith for real. It's that spirit of grace from the Most High, and ultimately, the reason why we keep going in this truth is obviously because of the grace of the Most High. But I always say, faith is like the fuel. If you're driving your car, you run out of gas, it's not going to go, right? If your car does run on, gas, right? But whether it's a Tesla or whether it's just a regular car, if you do not have the fuel for it, right, the efficient fuel is not going to go, it's not going to move. So our fuel in this truth is faith, all right? So that's why it's a mighty gift to have, that gift of faith. The Most High didn't require anybody to, you have to know 1,000 precepts to get into the kingdom. Didn't say that, but Yahweh Shah did say, Mark chapter 11, verse 22, right? Hey, have faith in the Most High. He did say that though, right? He did say that, all right? He said, have faith in the Most High. So brothers that have that gift already of faith, and we should all be praying for that gift, especially, hey, they're blessed among, blessed amongst the Most High, or Salakia, blessed among the people, you know, blessed of the Most High, Salakia, blessed of the Most High, right? But Salakia, so the second part of that, right? So it says that to another faith by the same Spirit, to another the gifts of healing by the same Spirit. So you have the gifts of healing. We can evidently see this in the precepts, right? Let's go to Acts chapter 3 and verse 6. There are certain men that they had this gift on high. I mean, they had this gift at max, 10 level, right? 100 level. And let's look at Peter, right? Let's look at Peter and how he had this gift. Let's go to Acts chapter 3, verse 6.
This is Acts chapter 3, verse 6, and it reads, Then Peter said, Silver and gold have I none, but such as I have gave I thee, in the name of Yahweh Mashiach of Nazareth, rise up and walk. And he took him by the night. So he took him by the right hand and lifted him up, and immediately his feet and ankles bones received strength. And he leaped up, stood and walked, and entered with them into the temple, walking and leaping and praising Yahweh. And all the people saw him walking and praising Yahweh.
Right. Yep. Oh, so yep, that's it on that. That's it on that con. All praises. Yeah, so this is a famous account, you know what I'm saying, in terms of Peter, one of his most famous, you know what I'm saying, healings, I should say, or acts of healing. So Peter, he said, silver and gold have I none, because he's talking to this beggar, you know what I'm saying, by the temple, saying, I don't have any silver and gold. I don't have money for you, but I do have something that's better than that. Right? He said, but such as I have, I give I thee, in the name of Yahweh Shah Mashiach of Nazareth, rise up and walk. So he healed this man, because he was lame at first. He couldn't walk properly, right? You know what I'm saying? But he, Slakia Peter, he was able to heal him through the Spirit. Right? He was able to heal him through the Spirit. So he had the gifts of healing. Peter had the gifts of healing, and much, just like how a lot of the other apostles had that same gift. All right. And now we don't really see a lot of people having the same type of gift, because I mean they were living in a different time back then. All right. Peter, Andrew, all these other apostles, they walk with Yahweh Shah, right? You can just imagine the type of faith that they had, right? But nevertheless, we live in a different time right now. And so a lot of things is more so spiritual. So brothers can still be having that spirit of healing, right? Whether it's on a physical level, brothers are apothecaries. You know what I'm saying? The Lord said in Sirach 38, medicine cometh out of the earth. So, just because brothers are not just touching a man and then now he's able to just come alive again, right? Or now he just fixed his arm because he just touched them, right? You know what I'm saying? Oh, this brother, he just touched this brother, and then now he had cancer. Now the cancer went away, right? Because a lot of people, they'll scoff and say, "How come this is not happening anymore? How come you guys call yourself servants of the Most High? You guys call yourself apostles, Israelites, or something like that? Okay, well, do perform miracles, perform what I'm saying, perform healings. Why are you not doing what the apostles did? A lot of these Christians be faking it too. That be doing that, right? There's a whole stage, right? Talking about they healed somebody with, we know a stage, man. We know you guys are lying for real, right? But nevertheless, nevertheless, guess what? We live in a different time. So even if you can heal somebody through giving them medicine and giving them, herbal medicine or whatever, or even praying over them, right? That's the gift of healing right there. Let's go to James chapter 5, right? Let's read that in the precepts. Not always, don't expect every single man in the truth is going to be able just to, all right, oh, you got cancer. All right, let me just touch you real quick, and then hey, I'm gonna get rid of that cancer. It's not that, nobody is Peter, or I shouldn't say that nobody's Peter, but guess what? We're not Peter, man. We don't know who's Peter. We don't know who Peter is back on the earth. All right, where Peter even has that same type of power right now. But let's go to James chapter 5. All right, let's go to James chapter 5, and what do I want?
I
James 5,
think
14. I think I want 14.
14 start 14.
Yeah, come, Baba Shah.
Now, this is James chapter 5, verse 14. Is any sick among you? Let him call for the elders of the church and let them pray over him, anointing him with oil in the name of Yahweh. And the prayer of faith shall save the sick, and the Lord shall raise him up. And if he have committed sins, they shall be forgiven.
Yeah,
They shall have forgiven him. So like,
yeah, come. You see that? So even the elders can pray over some certain people, certain sick people, and anoint them with the oil, right? And that may heal through the spirit if the Most High wants that to happen. So that's even the spirit of healing. That's even the spirit of healing right there. Let's go to the let's look at it more so on a spiritual level. Let's go to the book of Acts chapter 10. Or actually, no, I want to Acts chapter 10 for the other one. Let's go to let me see, right? Yeah, let's go to the book of Luke chapter 10, verse 9, right? Yeah, because these men were on a different level, right? These men were on a different level. Not everybody can do these miracles that these apostles did. Let's go to Luke chapter 10, verse 9, though.
the same Luke chapter 10, verse 9. And heal the sick that therein, and say unto them, the kingdom of Yahweh is come nigh unto you.
Right. So
But
the Lord, Salakia. The Lord specifically gave powers onto these 12 men, right? When you even read down in the chapter, right? You said, hey, the devils are subject unto our name. The Lord said, heal the sick that are therein. And that's what they did. That's what they did in every city. They were doing the works of Yahweh. All right. So not everybody's on the same level as the 12 disciples or the 12 apostles. All right. But let's keep reading on that. Unless you had a point of precept game.
Continue on to my
Yeah.
Luke.
Yeah. No, so let's go to back to 1 Corinthians 12 and 10.
Okay, yeah, I got a point with the brothers going to. Brothers that go out, mighty brother Yashala, all the brothers that go out and teach, and we doing the spiritual healing too. That's also a type of healing that's going on, right? Because that's what we speak in the words of the Most High that build them back up into to righteousness, hard back to the Most High, right? Let me get this piece real quick, Isaiah, right? Let me get this real quick. Right. This reads, this is Isaiah 61, this classic. It says, the spirit of the Lord Yahweh is upon me, because the Lord had anointed me to preach good tidings unto the meek. He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted. And he said he has sent us to bind up the brokenhearted. Sent the apostles out there to bind up the brokenhearted. Literally speaking the words of wisdom and knowledge and understanding to people. That's also a form of healing as well. Not just a we're not doing the same the same miracles that like the brothers going to Peter was doing and the other apostles were doing, but we still have that same spirit of what healing our people with the word of the Lord, right? So that's a form of healing as well, right? Let me get this other piece of real quick. Going to the spiritual as well. This is Jeremiah chapter 33 and verse 6, right? It says, Jeremiah chapter 33 and verse 6, it says, behold, I will bring it help. Behold, I will bring it health and cure, and I will cure them and will reveal unto them the abundance of peace and truth. Right? So, that's what the Most High do. He said he's going to heal us. Receive and reveal the unto the abundance of peace and truth. Right? So that's another type of healing as well. It's the words of the Lord as well. You got it, King.
Right. Yep. Even when you read the prophets, sometimes the prophets will talk about they have healed, right? They have healed the wound of my people slightly, saying peace, peace when there's no peace. Right. What does that mean? That you have prophets on the left hand side, teachers on the left hand side, that are not sent by the Most High, and they will teach these lies unto the people, which is ultimately, what is that doing? Ultimately, that is healing their wounds, but slightly, right? It's only slightly healing the wound. For example, if you get shot, if somebody gets shot by a bullet, right? Let's just say somebody gets shot by a bullet and they survive, but the thing is, you're not going to put a band-aid over it. It's like trying to put a band-aid over a bullet wound, man. It's not going to. What is that going to do? You literally have to go to the ER. You got to go to the ER. You got to go to the hospital. You can't just wrap some toilet paper around it, man. You got shot. You know what I'm saying? It's not that type of wound, right? Now, if as a kid, might be running, you kind of scraped your knee or something like that, or it kind of scraped your arm or something like that. Now, you could just put a band-aid over that. You don't have to necessarily go to the hospital, you know. So, that's what our people do. They put a band-aid over a bullet wound. You know what I'm saying? Thinking that's gonna do anything. It's not. You are teaching the people lies. You know what I'm saying? And so, and yeah, the Lord does talk about that. So just touching on, but what the brothers bringing out, on the highways and byways, that's what we're trying to do out there. We're spiritually, trying to heal our people, because this word is medicine. That's wisdom. I don't know if you brought that out, but wisdom of Solomon 16 and 12. You know, yeah, come on, let's just get that one real quick, since we're talking about it. This word is wisdom. I mean, it's like this word is a medicine unto our people. And just like, and actually, let's bring out this precept. I'm bringing out that point, right? That I want to kind of bring out, right? But let's bring out this precept real quick.
Now, this is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 16, verse 12, and it reads, "For it is neither herb nor mollifying plaster that restored them to health,
Right?
but thy word,
But thy what?
but thy word, O Lord, which healeth all things."
No, thy Tylenol.
That thy word, which healeth, O Lord, which healeth all things.
Right. So the Lord said, "Thy word, which healeth all things." So the word heals all things. All right, the word heals all things. So when we're out there in the highways and byways, we see our people, they're brokenhearted. You know what I'm saying? They're captive to their sin. We see our people there roaming around, not trying to hate their brother, trying to get into certain things, trying to get into wickedness. We see our people out there, man. So we're trying to bring this medicine to them. And guess what? As a kid, when you had to take your medicine because you were sick, did you want to take the medicine? I mean, you wanted to get healed, right? You wanted to get better, right? But you didn't want to. Hey, be for real. I know. I didn't want to take that. I did not want to eat it. I did not want to drink that. You kind of smell. You like, nah, man. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good, man. I'm good. But hey, Mons was adamant about you got to take the medicine. You got to take the medicine. You want to get better, you got to take it. You got to take the medicine. You got to deal with it. You got to drink it. Mom was to say, hey, man up, right? Just drink it, and it'll be like this liquid. You know what I'm saying? It'll be this liquid in this little cup. I'm like, man, I don't want to drink it, man. I don't want to drink it because it tastes nasty. But afterwards, it yields what? You get better. You know what I'm saying? You take a little nap, you eat, and you get better, right? Because of that medicine. You see that? So that's what this truth is. You may not like it, man. You may not like it, first of all. It's bitter to you, right? Oh man, all these commandments, 613. You know how many people say that? 613? It sounds bitter to them. Oh man, I can't eat pork, man. Oh man. No chitlins, right? No, man. What else did Jake eat, man? No pork chops.
Crab lobster?
Yeah, conch, lobster. No red lobster anymore, you know? And so they to them, they're like, oh man, I don't even think I want to drink any more of that. You know what I'm saying? I don't even think I want to drink anymore. But you have to. Our people have to drink this word. All right, our people have to eat of it, if that makes sense. And it's likened onto, medicine, right? Okay. So that was a good point that the brother was bringing up. So let's go back to that, right? So that's why I said the gifts of healing by the same spirit. Certain brothers, they're able to heal better than other brothers, right? And that's just the way it goes. All right. That's just the way it goes. Let's go to verse 10.
Verse 10. This is 1 Corinthians 12 and 10. To another, the working of miracles. To another, prophecy. To another, discerning of spirits. To another, diverse kinds of tongues. to another the interpretation of tongues.
Right. So let's look at that in order. So this says the to another the working of miracles. So some brothers they have the working of miracles. This is similar to the healing of the spirit of healing or the gifts of healing. But let's see how this is different. Let's go to the book of Acts chapter 10 verse 38. Some brothers literally have the power, right, to cast out certain devils. Okay, and it's not going to look like the exorcist. Okay, just because it doesn't look like the exorcist doesn't mean that this brother's not casting out a devil. All right, we see brothers cast out devils and bring out the spirits out of people all the time. You know what I'm saying, with the word of the Most High. So let's go to Acts chapter 10 verse 38.
This is Acts chapter 10, verse 38, and it reads, How Yahweh anointed Yahweh Shah of Nazareth with the Holy Ghost and with power, who sent about doing good and healing all that were oppressed to the devil, for Yahweh was with him.
Yeah, you see that? So that's what the apostles are doing, right? And that's what Yahweh Shah was doing, healing all that were oppressed of the devil. That's a miracle right there, to bring somebody into the truth, to liberate somebody from the captivity of Satan. That's literally a miracle, right? Let's go to James chapter 5. Let's go to James chapter 5, or actually Slakia, 2 Timothy 2 and 23. 2 Timothy 2 and 23, I think I want it. Or it might be 26. Salakia. Might be 26. 26, Salakia, 26.
This is Second Timothy chapter 2, verse 26, and it reads, And that they may recover themselves out of the snare of the devil, who are taken captive by him at his will.
Right, at his will. You see that? So that's literally a miracle that brothers are doing out in the highways and byways. There's literally brothers that can testify. Brothers are bringing out the word to a certain Jake or certain Eve, and they literally convert right then and there. They literally convert right then and there. You know what I'm saying? They literally put their fringes on right then and there. That's a miracle being worked. You know what I'm saying? Because the brothers is bringing out mightily in the spirit with the word of the Most High. Okay, so certain brothers, they can do that. You know what I'm saying? They were blessed from the Most High with that certain gift to work miracles inside of men. Okay, let's keep going on that. Unless you had a point on that, the working of miracles. Con, you good? Did you have a point on the working of miracles?
Yeah, Con, let me get this preset real quick.
Okay, Con, you got it.
Like the brother said, hey, being on the highways and byways, and you see it almost all the time through the spirit. Even the brother, a brother teaching the word, casting down. You know what? All these imaginations that the people got. That's working a miracle as well. And then you see the brother, that person, like the brother said, either the spirit jump out of them, and that you can see that spirit of the spirit of the flesh will start working on them, or you can see that the spirit of the Most High start working on them. But this is a 2 Corinthians chapter 10 and verse 5, right? I'm gonna start at 4. It says, "For the weapons of the warfare are not carnal, but mightily through God, Yahweh, to be pulling down of strongholds." So pulling down strongholds, right? Casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalts himself against the knowledge of Yahweh, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Mashiach, right? So that's a form of a miracle as well, a casting down all the imagination. And what we kind of do almost every opening of the Shabbat, and we literally go through casting down all these imaginations, and that's a working of the miracles of the Most High as well. Because most people, we know that the most of the time, the Most High seal a lot of people's minds. Us even knowing the truth is a miracle. That's a miracle within itself. Because a lot of people hear this word but don't partake in it, and a lot of us do, and then we end up coming full force in it. That's a miracle in itself. But Khan, you got a king.
Yeah, come. No, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. Yep. Yeah. So so that's a working a miracle. So some brothers answer even sisters, right? It's like you said what?
That's a Khan.
Yeah, Khan. Yep. Hey, even Isaiah, when you read Isaiah, I believe that was the 8th chapter. Let's let me just double check. So Isaiah chapter 8. We don't have to get it. I just want to double check. Isaiah chapter 8. Yeah, Isaiah 8 and verse 1 on down. When you read that chapter, his wife was called a prophetess. Okay. His wife was called a prophetess. So she even had certain gifts. We don't know exactly what specific gifts that she might have had, but you do have prophetess in the Bible. So even brothers and brothers and sisters, they both can have all these gifts are here. Even the working of miracles. Okay, so let's move on. So you have the working of miracles and to another prophecy, right? So like you said, what?
Let me read it again.
Oh yeah, no. La. I was just going. Yeah, Khan, you good? It says to another prophecy. So you have the spirit of prophecy. Okay, yeah, the spirit of prophecy in the earth. Let's go to the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 14, and I think I wanted let's start at verse 1. So let's go to 1 Corinthians 14 and 1. Right on that.
This 1 Corinthians chapter 14, verse 1, and it reads, "Follow after charity and desire spiritual gifts, but rather that ye may prophesy. For
Right.
he that's
Salakia. So the Lord said, follow after charity and desire spiritual gifts. It's okay for you to desire spiritual gifts. In fact, and when you read later in this chapter, he says, covet to prophesy. Actually, let's get that. Let's hold that. Let's go to verse 39. Right. Right. You can actually lust. Now, certain brothers are going to say, aha, got you. Right. And they're gonna isolate that, and they're gonna soundbite. You can lust, right? It's lawful. No, brother, you can lust after lawful things. Like for example, is it okay for you to lust or slash crave or covet your wife? Yeah, because I mean that's yours, right? Is it okay for you to lust after certain gifts? Because remember, lust just means crave for real, right? Is it a sin for you to want a certain gift? No, Paul actually says that you should want to covet a certain gift. Let's see what that gift is. Verse 39.
This is in 1 Corinthians 14 and 39. It says, and it reads, "Wherefore, brethren, covet to prophecy, and forbid covet to prophecy,
right?
And forbid not to speak with tongues."
So he says, covet to prophesy. You should want to prophesy. You should want to have that spirit of prophecy, to go into these different prophecies, revelation, to go into Revelation and break it down and say, yeah, when you read Revelation chapter 6, this is the seal that we're in right now. Because you look at this precept, go to 2nd Ezra, and you link that up with 2nd Ezra 7 and verse 24. And see, that's the spirit of prophecy right there. You're able to go into the prophecies and it makes sense. And you're linking it up with history. You're linking it up with timelines and all this other stuff. It's a good spirit to have. It's a good spirit to have. And he says, forbid not to speak with tongues. That's another gift, right? But let's keep going up. So, Salakia. So it says in verse 1, it says, desire spiritual gifts, but rather that you may prophesy. Let's go to verse 2.
Verse 2. This is 1 Corinthians 14 and 2. For he that speaketh in an unknown tongue speaketh not unto men, but unto Yahweh. For no man understandeth him, howbeit in the spirit he speaketh mysteries.
Right.
But he that's
Khan, that's talking about the unknown, Salaki, the spirit of tongues. Let's go to verse 3. Here's the point.
Verse 3. But he that prophesieth speaketh unto men to edification and exhortation and comfort.
Yeah, so when you're prophesying, that's what you're doing. You're speaking unto men to edification, exhortation, and comfort. You see that? That's why Paul is like, hey, I want you to speak in tongues, but if I had to choose between y'all speaking in tongues and y'all prophesying, I want y'all to prophesy, right? Because he says it's more edifying. Prophesying unto the people is more edifying. You see that? He's saying, look, because when you're prophesying, you're not only edifying, you're also exhorting. See, when a brother is bringing out prophecies to you, he's showing you what's going to happen. So that should be an exhortation for you to go harder, right? Oh, damn. I mean, hey, we really are at the end, huh? I mean, hey, I do see wars and rumors of wars. I do see the end times. I do see, famines arising and pestilence in diverse places. I do see these things, right? We must be in the end times. That's how it's exhortation and comfort as well. Because when there's brothers that can go into the prophecies about the eschaton, right? Or the kingdom connotation, connotative scriptures as well. Revelation chapter 22, that's a comforting chapter, right? Isaiah chapter 60, that's a comforting chapter. You know, Isaiah 66, you know, Isaiah 65, right? A lot of the proto Salaki, the Trito Isaiah, right? A lot of the Trito Isaiah, a lot of the minor prophets as well, look into the kingdom of heaven, right? And these are comforting prophecies for Israel, not so much for the heathen, but nevertheless, hey, you know, hey, that's another topic, right? So edification, exhortation, and comfort. That's what a brother has the spirit of prophecy can go into all these things. Okay, that's why that's also another mighty gift to have. But again, should you be sad that that you don't have that a certain type of gift to go into the prophecies and go into a deep? No, not everybody can really do that, right? Not everybody can go into the prophecies and it's just evidently clear for them, you know, and that's okay, right? Because not everybody is the same in this truth. And Paul is going to explain that later in the chapter, right? Let's keep going on that though. It says so another prophecy. Do you have a precept on that, King?
Got precept on the prophecies for one precept. This is Revelation chapter 19, verse 10, and it reads, I fell at his feet to worship him, and he said unto me, see thou, do it not. I am thy fellow servant, and of the brethren that have the testimony of Yahweh Shai. Worship Yahweh, for the testimony of Yahweh Shai is the spirit of prophecy.
That's right.
So, having that spirit of prophecy, is that spirit of the Most High Yahweh, and Yahweh Shai through the spirit. So, like the brother say, it's not you should want the spirit of prophecy. You know, you'll know if you move in the spirit, and that's a lot of these Christianity believers and these Christianity leaders. This is what they fail to realize: it's the prophecy. That's how you know if they're moving in the spirit. Because once brothers could go through the prophecy and they won't never understand it. They think it happened in that time period, but all along, it's talking about future times.
Yep.
You know, so that spirit prophecy is a big one. But like the brother said, don't beat yourself over it if you don't have it, but ultimately a covenant over it. You know, pray for it. What kind you got a king?
Yep, that's a beautiful point. That is a beautiful point because all these things that we're going through in terms of the different gifts and the different offices, we really just, I mean, that's not really, it's a rare thing in the earth for, a lot of people to go into these prophecies and understand them. You know, a lot of people are having a whole debate about Isaiah 14 and 1 through 3. Is that end time or is this after the Babylonian captivity? I mean, certain brothers, just read Isaiah 14, verses 1 through 3, and like, I mean, obviously that's end time, right? Because you go into this precept, man, it's evidently clear for certain brothers, right? Especially those of us that's in this truth. But outside of the truth, they're trying to figure it out, and so that's why, as a brother was saying, hey, hey, we shouldn't really take these gifts for granted. You know what I'm saying? Because we may take it for granted. Hey, I myself included might be like, oh yeah, that's just Isaiah 14, yeah, con. But to understand it is really a miracle within itself, as the brother was saying as well. To understand these prophecies, man. And like I said, there's different levels to it, right? Even sisters in the truth can understand Revelation 13 and 10, how that's going to come to pass. That's the spirit of prophecy right there on a lower level. You know what I'm saying? Because not everybody can understand that. Not everybody can understand Revelation 13 and 10. Some people said that's hell, and where does it say that's hell? Right? But nevertheless, we just keep going.
Go off.
Right? It's like you said, what?
Start going off on them.
Right. Start going off on them. So come on, right? So it says, yeah, right. So the working of miracles, the spirit of prophecy, and to another discerning the spirits. So like I said, we're going through every of these offices and these gifts in this chapter, Lord willing, right? So it says the discerning of spirits. So what is the discerning of spirits? For example, let's get a precept on that. Give me real quick Acts 5 and verse 1, right? Let's go to Acts 5 and verse 1 through the spirit, right?
This is Acts chapter 5, verse 1, and it reads, but a certain man named Ananias with Sapphira, his wife, sold a possession and kept back part of the price, his wife also being privy to it. and brought a certain part and laid it at the apostles' feet. But Peter said, Ananias, why has Satan filled thy heart to lie to the Holy Ghost and to keep back part of the price of the land? Whilst it remained, was it not thine own? And after it was sold, was it not not in thy own power? Why hast thou conceived this thing in thy heart? Thou hast not lied unto men, but unto Yahweh.
Right.
And Ananias,
Yep, that's it on that. So what's going on here is I'm pretty sure brothers and sisters know this account, but if you don't, I'll just sum it up real quick. So it says a certain man named Ananias was Sapphira, his wife. They sold a possession, right? And when it says they kept back part of the price, meaning that when they sold that possession that they had, they when they're going to bring it to the apostles, because at this time they were building up the church, and so in order for them to do that, they needed money, right? So when they came to the apostles to bring that money that they had by selling that possession, they kept back the price, meaning they didn't give them the full amount that they earned, right? So they laid it at the apostles' feet. They only brought a certain part, and so they were both on that. They were both on that agenda. Ananias and Sapphira, right, his wife. So Peter was like, "Look, man, like why are you lying to the Holy Spirit? You're keeping you're keeping part of the price of the land." And so how was Peter able to understand that? How would he know? How would he even know that Ananias did that? Again, this could be Salakia, an example of the spirit of discernment. He was able to discern that Ananias was actually lying about the price, right? And again, you have to read between the lines. It doesn't show the full conversation that they had. But Peter, through the spirit, the spirit could have told Peter that, look, yeah, you're lying, and I know you're lying. You know what I'm saying? So that's why in verse 4 he said, "Thou hast not lied unto men, but unto the Most High." So again, Peter, we keep going to Peter because Peter was mighty. He had literally almost every gift that we're reading about right here, right? The spirit of discernment, you know what I'm saying? The spirit of prophecy. Hey, yeah, all these different spirits. He had all these different type of gifts, because again, Peter was the head of the church. He was the rock of the church. So it would only make sense for him, such individual like him, to have all these gifts, right? Let's go to real quick. Let's go to Acts 8 and verse 20 real quick. Just another account.
This is Acts chapter 8, verse 20, and it reads, But Peter said unto him, Thy money perish with thee, because thou hast thought the gift of Yahweh may be purchased with money. Thou hast neither part nor lot in this matter, for thy heart is not right in the sight of Yahweh.
Right. So Peter, again, he's rebuking this certain man called Simeon, who believed to be some great one, as the scriptures say. And Simeon came up to Peter and was like, "Hey, how can I buy that gift that you have? And you're healing everybody and this and the third." Peter's like, "Look, your money perished with you. You thought that you could buy this truth for money? You're stupid, right? You're a fool." Right? That's how Peter was talking to him, right? And Peter said, "Look, thou hast neither part nor lot in this matter, for thy heart is not right in the sight of the Most High." So he said, meaning what? You have no business being in this truth, right? And let's skip down to verse 23. And here's how we know that he had the spirit of discernment.
Verse 23, it says, For I perceive that thou art in the gall of bitterness.
Wait, for I what?
For I perceive that thou art in the gall of bitterness and in the bond of iniquity.
So Peter literally said, I perceive that you are in the gall of bitterness. You see that? So he had that spirit of discernment, right? He even discerned the fact that, okay, you are not sincere at all, right? And so, we pray that we may also have these different types of gifts as well, right? The spirit of discernment. Hey, he was like, look, man, your spirit is off. You're not coming to the truth in sincerity, and that takes the spirit of discernment to understand that a brother is not walking in the spirit of sincerity and truth to serve the Most High. All right, let's get one more precept on that. 2 Corinthians 2 and verse 10, classic.
It's Second Corinthians. Second Corinthians.
Yeah, 2 Corinthians 2. Let's just start at verse 11 and get to the point.
This Second Corinthians chapter 2, verse 11, and it reads, "Lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices."
Right. And so that's just another quick precept on the spirit of having the spirit of discernment. Because how are you able to know what's of the Most High and what's of Satan? How are you supposed to know? Through this what? Spirit of discernment. You see that? Oh yeah. Because a brother that doesn't have the spirit of discernment, or a sister that doesn't have it, could easily get fooled. You know. Oh well. I mean, this brother. I mean, he did say. I mean, like I don't know, man. Hey, this brother did say. I mean, if I join this camp, I could make 500,000 a year. But I mean, he still does live with his mom though. Still, he lives with his mom in his mom's basement. But he did say if I join this camp, I would be part of the elect, and I would also, you know, uh, be rich in this world and in the next world. Well, brother, what precept is that? What precept is that, man? You know what? You got to have the spirit of discernment. Obviously, that brother's not walking in the spirit of the Lord, you know, and that just comes with, what I'm saying, that gift of the Most High, right? That just comes with, again, wisdom, right? Discretion, and also the Most High giving you that spirit, all right, or giving you that gift. Okay. You had a point on that?
I got a point on that. Going back to First Samuel chapter 16 to get straight to the point.
Huh.
This is First Samuel chapter 16, verse 15. Right? It says, "And Saul's servant said unto him, Behold, now an evil spirit from Yahweh troubled thee." So that's his servants had discernment that
Mm.
a Saul had this evil spirit coming from him. They just couldn't just know straight out the bag. Ain't like Saul. What? There's no account that Saul walked into him and say, "Hey, this evil spirit is on me." They had the kind of the discernment to show, to say that this evil spirit, was on Saul. Showing that you got to have discernment too. It's a lot of discernment going on, discerning spirits and seeing what's happening amongst you. Kyle, you got a king. Kyle, you got a king. Yeah, but Kyle, it's the yeah, because so hey, having discernment is an ultimate gift too. Knowing what's going on around you and your surroundings, so you know how to maneuver in this thing. But Kyle, you got a king.
Khan, yep, Salakia. Yeah, so Khan. But yeah, let's keep going on that. Salakia, let me share my screen again. Let's keep going on that.
And it says, to another diverse kinds of tongues, and
Uh-huh.
to another interpretation of tongues.
Right. So we're down to the last two. So it says to another diverse kinds of tongues. So you have brothers in this truth that are able to speak different languages. All right. I know a lot of brothers that can speak Spanish, right? They can speak Spanish because a lot of our people, when you look at the demographics, on this side of the world, at least in the Americas, most common languages are what? English and Spanish that our people speak on this side of the world. English and Spanish, right? And I mean, honestly, when you look at the demographics of California, it literally shows that you have more so-called Hispanics or more, Northern Kingdom Israelites than there are any other race, for real, right? So, that's something we have to take into consideration for those of us that live in the West Coast. I mean, you have a lot of Northern Kingdom, and not every Northern Kingdom Israelites, in or out the truth speak Spanish, but I mean, the majority of people in Mexico and all these other countries that they're coming from, to come to America, they are Spanish speaking countries, right? Spanish speaking countries. So A lot of our and a lot of them when they come into the truth, they have this gift, right? It's a gift. I mean, it's a miracle for real. When you really look at it, because I do study linguistics. So when you look at how, people are raised being able to be bilingual, trilingual, or how many languages they can speak and being raised up to speak these different languages, that is literally a gift. I mean, it's no other way around it, right? Because for me, I wasn't raised to speak Spanish. Nobody in my family speaks Spanish, right? But and I'm still in the process of learning now. I'm definitely not 100% fluent, but I had to literally put in that work through the spirit. Somebody that wasn't raised to speak a certain language, you literally had to put in the effort and that work to learn it. Whereas these other, individuals that were able or blessed enough to be bilingual from, birth or from, just being raised up in their childhood, they're blessed, in that matter. They were given that gift. You see that? So it's literally a gift to speak in diverse kinds of tongues, whether you learned it on your own or whether you were just raised that way. You know what I'm saying? It's a gift in the Most High. So let's get a precept on that. Let's go to the book of Acts, chapter 22, verse 2. Let's hit that precept real quick. And then we'll go to First Corinthians 9, verse 20. But yeah, let's get that Acts 22 and verse 2.
This is Acts chapter 22 and verse 2, and it reads, "And when they heard that he spake in the Hebrew tongue to them, they kept the more silence, and he said."
Right. So it says when they heard that he spake in the Hebrew tongue to them, they kept the more silence, and he said. So Peter, I'm just like Paul, he was able to speak Hebrew. But guess what? He also was able to speak Greek. Let's go to First Corinthians 9 verse 20. Right? He was able to also to speak Greek. I mean, the Pauline epistles that we have are all in Greek. So you mean to tell me he was able to write in Greek, but he didn't know how to speak it? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, he was able to speak Hebrew, obviously being a Jew, but he was also able to speak Greek as well. So already you got two languages right there. Let's go to First Corinthians 9 verse 20.
This is First Corinthians chapter 9, verse 20, and it reads, "And
Mhm.
unto the Jews I became as a Jew, that I might gain the Jews. To them that are under the law, as under the law, that I might gain them that are under the law. To
Right.
them,
Let's like
to
let's get down to verse 22. Salaki.
verse 22, to the weak become I as weak, that I might gain the weak. I am made all things to all men, that I might by all means save some."
Yeah, you see that? He is made all things to all men that Slakia. I am made all things to all men that I might by all means save some. So meaning that he stooped down to their level. So when he was talking to the Jews, he didn't speak Greek to them. They didn't like Greek. All right. They didn't want to speak Greek. There was just Hebrew. If you come over here speaking that Greek, and guess what? We're going to look at you weird. All right. And we're going to look at you disgusted because we hate Greek. That's how the Israelites were in Judea. All right, they wanted to speak Hebrew. So Paul couldn't go up to the Jews speaking Greek. He had to speak that Hebrew. And now they're going to listen because now you're speaking our tongue. Now you're speaking our language. All right. And again, when you are speaking in a different language, it's a different spirit, it's a different personality. Right. I know this because I'm able to speak, English, and it's all the most English, Japanese, and Spanish. So when you're speaking, right, because with this languages, it comes a different type of spirit, it comes a different culture. All right, it's a different culture, a different spirit. You can't say this in this language, but you can say that in this language. Different ways to express yourself. So languages really go deep. But nevertheless, to make that point, Paul was able to speak, by our knowledge, Hebrew, Greek, and even Latin, because we knew that he also spake to the Roman centurions, and he also traveled in Rome plenty of times. Where were they speaking in Rome? They were speaking Latin. You see that? They were speaking Latin as well. All right. So Paul probably knew some Latin, he knew Greek, and he knew Hebrew. So already he got the spirit of speaking in tongues. And that's what the spirit speaking in tongues is. All right. But nevertheless, I also wanted to touch in that same breath to another the interpretation of tongues. And what this means is The interpretation of tongues is you might have certain brothers that they are able to understand what somebody is saying to them. For example, take the brother Natash out of WFI LA, right? And there's probably other brothers that's like him too. When you try to ask him, hey, do you speak Spanish? He'll say no. Say, I don't know. But he hears a full blown conversation, somebody speaking Spanish, and he understands it, but he just can't speak it back. So he can interpret it. He can interpret the language, right? And he'll break down what this guy is saying, but he can't speak it back though, because it's one thing to understand it; it's another thing to speak it back, right? So that's what certain brothers that's their situation. Some brothers can understand it, some brothers can read it, but they can't. They just can't speak it back, right? Because in order for you to speak it back, you have to know the rules, the grammar, the punctuation. You have to know all the rules of the language in order for you to speak it back properly, right? So yeah, Khan, you had a point of precept on that.
I was going back to diverse of tongues just to show like in that time period, all our, not all, but most of our known or well known scholars of the time, like, they had to have these certain languages, like the brothers went into a Greek, Latin, and Hebrew, right?
Mhm.
This is, just a precept. This is St. Luke, chapter 23, in verse 38. It says, and a subscription also was written over him in letters of Greek and Latin and Hebrew. This is the King of the Jews. So that, like the brother was going to, those three languages, our people was well known, what was well known, versed in. They kind of knew what was going on dealing with those certain languages. But kind of just leaning back on what you were saying about the gifts, languages came. But kind of got it.
Okay, Khan, all praise to the Most High. Can y'all hear my fan or la? It's not a okay, Khan. Just have to turn on the fan real quick. Okay, Khan, all praises. So yeah, let's keep going in that. All right. So yeah, we already got all the gifts that Paul mentions. All right, and let's go to verse 11 now.
Verse 11, it says, but all these work at that one in the self same spirit, dividing to every man severally as he will.
Yeah, as he will. So it's really up to the Most High. If the Most High wants you to speak a different language, or if the Most High wants to bless you with the spirit of prophecy or the spirit of faith, you know what I'm saying, or the gift of working miracles, is all up to him. And it says, but all these work at that one in the self-same, it's like yourself saying spirit, dividing to every man severally as he will. So it's according to the Most High, whatever he wants to give you. All right. If somebody's giving you a gift, you know, I mean, hey, guess what? You're at a party. Hey, people are giving gifts. People are giving gifts to each other. It's not like, hey, nah. I really wanted that one, but you know, again, you can pray for a gift. You can covet it, but nevertheless, the Most High doesn't have to give it to us. He doesn't have to, right? You may covet a certain gift. You might be like, man, that brother can go into the prophecy so well. I want to do that too. The Most High may give it to you. He may not. It's all up to the Most High, right? Now let's go to verse 12. Now we are reaching let's see our times. All right. Let's look at our time. Okay, kind of. So now let's skip down to we might just read this through and not necessarily go deep into it, just so we can, for the sake of time. So let's go to verse 12 then.
Verse 12, it reads, for as the body is one and have many members, and all the members of that one body, being many, are one body, is so also is a Mashiach. By one spirit are we all baptized into one body, whether we be Jews or Gentiles, whether we be bond or free, and have been all made to drink into one spirit. For the body is not one member, but many. If the
Right.
foot just
Oh, so like I just want to make a quick point. Yeah, so we're all baptized into one body. All right. It's all one body. And so the reason why you have different offices and the reason why you have different gifts is because not everybody can be a prophet. Okay, not everybody can be the Mister, the Mister Knowledge or the Mister Wisdom. Not everybody can be that. There has to be different offices in order to work together, right, in unison. So let's go to verse. Let's keep going to verse 3.
I continue on. It reads, "But if the foot shall say, Because I am not the hand, I am not the body, is it therefore not of the body? And if the ear shall say, Because I am not the eye, I am not the body, is it therefore not of the body?
Yeah.
If the whole
So
body,
yeah, kind of. So as Paul is saying, you can't just say the foot can't just say your foot can't just say, because I'm not the hand, I have no use. I'm not part of the body. That's ridiculous. You need your foot, right? You need your ears. You need every part of your body, right? You need your eyes, right? Let's keep going to let's keep going to verse 17.
if the whole body were an eye, where 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 were the hearing?
Right?
If the whole were hearing, where were the smelling?
Uh-huh.
But now Yahweh set the members, every one of them, in the body as it hath pleased him.
Right.
And if they were all one member, where the body?
If they
But
were
now,
all one member, where were the body? You see that? If he's saying, guess what? If you just had all eyes, just no arms, no legs, just eyes, how are you supposed to walk? How are you even supposed to do anything? You need a heart. You know what I'm saying? You need all these things that your body's composed of. You need your fingernails, right? You need hair upon, what I'm saying, your arms, your legs, what I'm saying, your head. All these have a function, right? So let's go to verse 20.
it says, but now are they many members, yet but one body. And the eye cannot say unto the hand, I am no need of thee, nor
Mhm.
the hand, no, nor again the head unto the feet, I have no need of you. Nay, much more those members of the body which seem to be more feeble are necessary.
Right. So
And
those members of the body which seem to be more feeble are necessary. So even on a physical level, it may not seem like you need your pinky toe, but you really do need your pinky toe, man, to for stability. You know what I'm saying? For you to walk, for you to run, you need your pinky toe. But it's small. It's the smallest toe though, but you do need it. You really do need it. You know what I'm saying? You need your pinky finger, right? You need all your fingers, man. You need your eyelashes, though it may be a small hair upon, what I'm saying, your eye, you need that though to get to prevent anything coming into your eyes, like an eye protection for you, right? For your eyes. You need every part of your body. And those which seem more feeble are actually more necessary. You know, they're actually more necessary, man. And we can even relate that to those of us that's in the truth, right? So you have certain brothers, hey, guess what? They're holding a sign or they're standing posts. That may not seem like a mighty office, but it really is. If there were no brothers holding posts, all hell would break loose. People would just kind of, walking behind brothers or, what I'm saying, God forbid, but somebody just come up and slap brothers in the head or something like that. Or somebody's just stealing our stuff. Everybody's looking this way and our stuff is that way, right? Everybody's looking this way. Our stuff is that way. Nobody's holding posts, and so anything you just come into the camp. You know what I'm saying? So we need brothers on posts. We need brothers that read. We need brothers that teach. We need all these things, right? We need even within the congregation. You got scribes, the historians. You have captains. You have vanguard. I mean, we need all these things to function properly as a body. Just because we're a soldier, like for example, me and Cyrac were soldiers of WFI, does that mean that we contribute nothing to the camp? La. In fact, some would even say that the soldiers are the most important part of an army or a part of a congregation, right? Because they're doing the footwork. All right. Without the soldiers, there will be no army, right? You're a captain over who? Somebody's a captain over somebody. So if you have no one to be a captain over, then what does that make you? You know what I'm saying? So the soldiers are actually most important. which seem to be more feeble. They're actually more necessary, if that makes sense. Let's go to verse. Yeah, the point on that, or just keep
Yeah,
going.
kind of even like a any type of vehicle or any type of thing that connect parts.
Yeah.
What holds the part together? What hold all these things together? The bolts, the
Yep.
screws. People think, hey, all this is, but it's the bolts and the screws that keep the car intact. The smallest things,
Yep.
and they say that in order. The smallest things counts.
Yep. That's true.
Because, and that's what the truth too. Everything counts. The smallest things. Hey, when you go to sleep, hey, time frame. Hey, everything counts. You know. So kind.
Uh,
Where is that? Verse 20. Where is it?
23.
Okay, 23. And it reads, um, and those members of the body which we think to be less honorable, upon these were bestowed more abundant honor, and more uncomely parts have more abundant comeliness. For our comely parts have no need, but Yahweh have tempered the body together, having given more abundant honor to the part which lacketh, that there should be no schism in the body, but that the members should have the same care one for another. And
Hmm.
whether one member suffer, all the members suffer with it. Of one member be honored, all the members rejoice with it.
Right.
Now ye,
When it says no schism in a body, Salakia, schism is talking about division, right? We don't want any division in the body. All the members should take care of each other, right? Shouldn't just say because I'm the mouth, I'm more important than you. Right? That is not true. Just because a brother is a scribe doesn't mean that he's better than a brother that's just not that's not a scribe. Doesn't That's not true. You know, just because the brother Sirach is a scribe doesn't mean that he's better than the brother Yuanathan that's not a scribe. You know, just because brothers are endowed with the spirit of a certain spirit of prophecy or this a spirit of you know uh, um whatever spirit that he has, whatever gift he has, that doesn't make him better than anybody else, right? There shouldn't be any schism in the body. And if one member suffers, all the members suffer with it. Because guess what? If your arm is broken, guess what? I mean, just because it's your arm that's broken and not your left arm doesn't. I mean, you're going to take care of your arm, right? That's the point I'm trying to make. You're going to go to the hospital. You're going to try to get that cast around your arm, right? You can't just say, "Oh well, I mean, it's just my arm." No, you're going to take care of it, right? If you stub your toe, guess what you're going to do? You're going to fall to the floor. You're going to rub your toe, right? If something hurts in your body, you're going to take care of it, obviously, right? So that's why it says one member suffer, all the members suffer with it, because y'all are one. Y'all are still one body. You know, can't just be like, well, my toe. I mean, hey, I don't really care about it though. I don't really care about my feet. I don't really care about my health. I don't really care about oh damn, like, hey, I gotta do this on the third. I gotta cut back on this. Nah, I don't really care. I'm gonna just die. No, I mean, hey, that shouldn't be our mindset at all, right? If one member suffer, all the members suffer with it. One member be honored, all the members rejoice with it. That's even the same with this truth, right? Let's go to verse 27 through the spirit.
kind of like the brother was saying, got a point what you're saying.
Come.
It's that's with everything. Like if you run type any business, or like for example, like a so-called basketball team, right? Hey, yeah, Kobe Bryant, he get the glory, but hey, all 15 get a ring though. And
Yep.
if he lose, hey, they all crying, and they what
Yep.
they doing? They all consoling each other, you know. So that's what that whole point. If we all lose, it's no, like they say, it's no I in team, So if everybody is gonna feel the same type of feelings, going to like a sports world through the spirit. If you lose, hey, we all lose. Just because you think you balled out, that don't mean nothing. You still lost, man.
Mm.
But come,
Yeah,
God,
come. That's a good analogy. Come. That's right. Our
is
praises.
it this First Corinthians chapter 12 in verse uh
20, 27.
27.
Come.
It says, "Now ye are the body of Mashiach, and members in particular. And Yahweh has set some in the church: first apostles, secondary prophets, thirdly teachers, after the miracles, then gifts of healings, help governments, diversities of tongues. Are all apostles? Are all prophets? Are all teachers? Are all workers of miracles? Have all the gifts of healing? Do all speak with tongues? Do all interpret? But
Right.
covenant earnest us like
Slack. Yeah. So what he's saying is not everybody is an apostle. Not everybody is a prophet. Not everybody is supposed to be a teacher, right? Just like how you can't have 5 million, it's like not 5 billion, but you can't have 5 arms and 0 legs. That's just out of order. What do you, you know, that's something out of a damn Harry Potter book, you know?
creature.
Or the, it's like you said, what?
Instead of creature.
Yeah, a creature, you know, turn into a creeping thing, man. You know, or the Wisdom of Solomon chapter 11, you know, beast newly created, right? You know, or the book of Enoch, something out of the
Man,
book of Enoch or something, you know, it just that's just out of order, right? Or you have 5 eyes but 0 ears. How are you supposed to hear anything, you know? So when you look at the, you know, the creatures of the earth, even they are balanced, man, right? So not everybody's supposed to be having the gifts of healing. Not everybody is going to have the spirit of you know, a working slakia, working miracles and this and the third. These are diversities of operations, and they're all for the edifying and for the perfecting of the saints and for the ministry. All right. So like let's finish that out in verse 31.
verse 31. But covet earnestly the best gifts, and yet shew I unto you a more excellent way.
So he said, covet earnestly the best gifts. You should want to lust, slakia, to crave or to want, right? The best gifts. And these are some of the best gifts that he just listed. So you should want these gifts. And there's nothing wrong with wanting these gifts through the Spirit. All right. And he's showing us a more excellent way. So with that, just one more precept on that. Let's get Ephesians 4. And like I said, we're going to go back to that. Ephesians chapter 4. And I just want to make this point as well. Um, being as he listed, right? He said first apostles, secondarily prophets, thirdly teachers, right? So these are different, actually different offices. An apostle is an office. In Romans chapter, I believe 11 verse 13 on down, he said, "I do magnify my office, an apostle unto the Gentiles." That was his office. He knew what his office was. His office meaning his vocation, right? His lot in terms of, you know, where does he stand? What is his job in the truth? What is he in the truth? He understood that. Paul understood what he was in the truth. All right. So he understood he had a major role in the truth. He said, "Look, I'm an apostle. I'm at least an apostle, but I am an apostle. I am sent out by the Most High." So he did acknowledge that. He said, "First apostles." So the apostles are, you know, he's listing the rank. He said apostles. You also have prophets. Okay, prophets. That's another office. Teachers. That's another office. Right. So you have different offices. And again, the difference between an office and a gift is the reason why certain brothers are apostles, the reason why certain brothers are prophets, and the reason why certain brothers are teachers is because they have a plethora of different gifts. They don't just have one gift, they have multiple gifts, which then makes them eligible to fulfill these type of offices. Because in order for you to be a teacher, you have to have what? The spirit of wisdom, the spirit of knowledge, maybe the spirit of patience, the spirit of, you know, willing to teach. All these different spirits, you have to have that, which makes one office. You see that? So that's the difference between an office and a gift, right? So let's go to Ephesians chapter
4 and
4
11.
and verse number. So like you said, what?
4 and 11.
Yeah, come on, let's go to verse 11.
God, this is Ephesians 4 and 11. And it reads, and he gave some apostles, and some prophets, and some evangelists, and some pastors and teachers for the perfecting of the saints and the work of the ministry, for the edifying of the body of Mashiach, till we all come in the unity of faith and the knowledge of the Son of Yahweh unto a perfect man, unto the measure of the stature of the fullness of a Mashiach.
Yeah, and that's the purpose of having these different offices and these different gifts is for the perfecting of the saints, working the ministry, and for the edifying of the body of Hamashiach. All right. So that's the purpose of that. Yet anything else on that, King?
Okay.
All right, okay, come. All praise to the Most High. So yeah, that was just going through First Corinthians, the 12th chapter, pretty quick, and we just hit 1 hour 30 minutes. All praises. Just pretty quick, touching on the different offices, the different gifts, and Lord willing, that video, what I'm saying, or that lesson rather through the Spirit was edifying, you know. Um, but with that, we're going to bring out our closing precepts to the Spirit.
God, this is a First Maccabees chapter 2 in verse 50. It says, "Now therefore, my sons, be zealous for the law and give your lives for the covenant of your fathers." Right? He said, "Call to remembrance what acts our fathers did in their time, so ye shall receive great honor and everlasting name." So, and that's what we all need to do. A man, woman, and children, or child, remember what our forefathers did. Try to work in that same honor and step as well, so you can have an everlasting name in Mashiach Yahushua, right? Like the brother said, Lord willing, this was edifying, and that you learn something, and that and through the spirit and power of the Most High, and call me a shout. Shalom.
Khan, all praise to the Most High, all praises, man. Khan, I got this quick precept on that. Romans 11 and 13. For I speak to you Gentiles, in as much as I am the apostle of the Gentiles, I magnify mine office. So Paul said that he magnifies his office, meaning that he does everything that in his power, to be the best apostle that he possibly can with what the Most High gave him, and so that's a mighty spirit to pray for. It's a mighty spirit to have in these last days. Whatever our talent is, whatever our gift is of the Most High, and if you do have multiple gifts, hey, guess what? We want to use it to our best ability. We want to use it to our best ability, through the spirit power Yahweh in order to push this word, in order to be the best version of ourselves in this truth, and also to perfect each other. All right, because we're also building each other up as well. All right, in this truth. So with that, all praises to the Most High. Yahweh Shema Mashat wa Malak Yahweh Shah, the water for tuning in to the video. This is Brother Yasharala.
That's all right.
Come back to y'all yet another video through the spirit, power, Yahweh wa Yahweh Shah. Kwame Yashala, Shabbat Shalom. Shalom.